in July, Mr. Chairman.
Perfect, thank you. All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. 12 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order. Is there any declaration of conflicts?
No. See none?
Seeing none, approve of the agenda, please.
Yes.
Okay, moved, seconded, thank you. Adoption of the minutes from August 24th, 2021.
Yes.
Moved and seconded, thank you. Business arising for the minutes, is there any?
See none?
Okay, seeing none, we may as well move right into reports. Chief, fire for operational and regular updates.
Thank you, Chair. Operational report from August 19th through to September 21st. There were a total of 65 fire inspections. We'll break it down. Inspections were 4, follow-up fire inspections were 12, complaint inspections were 3, hazard compliance orders issued, there were 27, inspection files closed, there were 19 in all. Plans reviewed, permits, safety permits, and consultations, there were 11. Fire investigations, there were 2. Educational sessions and fire drills, there were 16. For emergency responses, there were a total of 91. District 1 had 58 responses, District 2 had 25, and there were 8 fire inspector call-outs as well. Training has resumed after September, in September. We've been to a tour of the Irving Oil Marine Terminal, and we've also done pump practice and also company drills. For community activities, the volunteer recruitment campaign has started and is running from September 20th through to October 29th. And there were also radio interviews and TV interviews as well. So that concludes the operational report.
So Chief, before you get into the report, so the recruitment campaign, how long does that last?
That will go until October 29th. So far, we have about 20 information packages picked up.
Oh, wow.
So it's doing very well.
Wow, good.
Good interest in the public.
How many are we looking for, Chief?
We have 2 vacancies right now.
Okay.
We would probably fill those vacancies and we may look at extending. It all depends on how well the program was over. And we'll wait and see. You know,
Okay.
maybe somewhere landed between 2 and 7 maybe.
Okay, excellent.
So we'll wait and see.
Yep.
So 91 calls last month, Chief. That seems like a high number compared to what I've seen in the past.
Yeah, the calls increased a little bit. Probably hit a lot of people in their city, during that time period. So there's not a lot of automatic alarms that can happen. So it's what you do.
Busy month.
Yeah, it's a busy month.
All right, on the operational, any questions? Yes.
What's the update on firefighter Spencer?
Spencer's home resting well. Even his wife dropped by the fire station last week for a quick little visit there, and the assistant was able to go out and say hello. Of course, we weren't at the station at the time, unfortunately. But Spencer's very tired and recovering well.
Good.
What's the update on the proposed fire station?
The proposed fire station, we actually met on September 15th. The executive committee met with the fire department project team, and we reviewed the room data sheets, room by room. We also met again, the executive team met again on September 23rd and reviewed the exterior design. So there are meetings planned for the future in the next coming weeks.
All right, sorry, Chief, I interrupted you from the operational into the updates. Probably part of your update was that,
That was
wasn't
part of it. That's
it? Okay, we'll let Chief keep going and we'll ask questions at the end. How's that? Sorry.
Updates?
Yeah.
That answer your question, Your Worship?
I'll go under updates.
Okay. All right, so under updates, new ladder truck. It's left the factory. Last I heard, it probably left the factory on Saturday and is being driven to the dealership representative in Moncton, or just outside Moncton, where it will receive final servicing before coming to the island. So we expect to see it in the next week, 10 days, thereabouts, that sort of thing. And then we'll do some training on it. There will be some trainers coming from the plant towards the end of October. They'll provide training on the apparatus, and then after that we'll put it into service. So in about a month's time we'll probably get trained on it. Probably about 6 weeks' time before we start the service.
Okay.
Yeah. Also negotiations, there's no further update on that. The new fire station, explained that we had met, continued to meet on the new fire station design. Also, the fire prevention bylaw revision, the preliminary draft has been submitted to the CAO for his review and comments. And then once it comes from there, we'll be sending it out to you, Mr. Chair.
Perfect.
The volunteer recruitment campaign, we chatted about that, which is going on very well. MOUs, emergency measures, those MOUs are continuously being updated. We're getting towards the end of that program right now. So hopefully we'll close that out in the next couple of weeks. Turnout gear, all our turnout gear has been inspected with all necessary repairs have been made. So that project is completed for the year. And also the 1923 ladder truck, we're not sure what year it is just yet, but we're checking into it once we get it. Arrangements are being made to have that truck transported over here at Charlottetown. We've rented a van trailer from a local warehousing organization or group. So once that trailer arrives here, the truck arrives here, we'll put it in the trailer. It's only 29 feet wide or long and 6.5 feet wide, so the smaller units.
How things have changed.
Yeah, everything will change, correct. So that concludes my report.
All right. Great report. Any questions for the chief?
Updates?
That's some
Okay.
updates there, yeah. You go
So
ahead.
just go back to fire station, September 15th, what was the other date?
I believe it was September 23rd.
And that's with the executive committee, that's with the Foster and Alabama crew?
Correct.
Yeah. So when are you planning to have something coming back to council? Like a plan to start?
I don't think there's a date in front of us, your worship. I think they want to move it on as quickly as possible. Obviously, we want to get the project moving forward. So the design will be, in another couple of weeks, we'll be continuing to meet on 2 more meetings, one on October 5th, I believe, and then probably one with the fire department project team on October 7th. And then what the takeaways will be for those meetings, so we don't know yet.
Yeah, because I know, Mr. Chair, this is a concern of yours too, because that's the area that you represent, and just trying to find out, are we looking at doing the footers this year, or doing first stages, or is it too far off the top?
Probably don't have a clear enough look at the crystal ball, your worship, but I would say it's probably coming in the next couple of months that we'll be able to tidy this up. Because once we go through the floor plan and the exterior design, then the sustainability has to take a look at it, and that's probably a month's worth of time there. So there's a little bit more work that has to be done, but I would think to be going to look for construction drawings here shortly.
Shortly, this year or 2022?
Probably this year, later this year, maybe January next year.
2022.
Yeah.
I think while we all want to see this, your worship, move along maybe quicker, I'm also a big fan of making sure the due diligence is done and make sure we do this right.
Oh, I think we're
there's-
watching that very carefully.
Yeah, but I just think,
we have-
I'd rather take the time during this process, get it done right, and not have to repair, if you will, or change plans midstream, which we all know that's where the cost is. So,
Mr. Chair, we've been working on this for about 2 years, so it's due diligence has been.
I have to assume that no one's dragging their heels on this. I'm hoping that staff knows the importance, your worship, of this project, I believe, for themselves and the city. And I have to assume that you guys folks are working as quickly as you can to get this.
Absolutely, and I think our meeting dates show that we're meeting as quickly as we possibly can. Before holiday season, like a marathon, we'll be meeting that meeting, so make sure we were keeping it in step.
Okay.
Again, Mr. Chair, I appreciate the timelines that we're working with, but we've discussed this 210, 214, 218, so we're moving on. And that's why I keep asking. And it's a big concern to you because it's in the area that you represent. Thank you, Chief.
Councillor Ramsey.
Yeah, so just to refresh my memory, the ground will not be broke till the spring probably, right? Was there not one discussion, you don't do anything in the winter because of the cost and the whole 9 yards?
Right, it's my understanding that it's more costly to construct in the winter time than it is spring. Typically, you would be breaking ground in the spring, maybe, if you had an early spring, maybe in April.
So, I'll just follow up,
Yep.
Mr. Chair. So if it is broken, the ground's broken in the spring, and let's say everything is moving forward, how long before the doors will be open? Do you go a year, do you go 6 months?
I think it's a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 12 months, thereabouts, after you break ground to be able to occupy the facility.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Councillor John, you online?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions?
I
For
have
the,
no question.
no questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Duffy, nothing?
I'm fine.
All right, Chief, thank you.
Well,
All right, moving into police operational. Chief?
Thank you, Chair. Calls for service, September 1st to date, are 1331, up a little bit from last year, which were 1177. We are seeing a slight increase in property crime and impaired driving compared to 2020. But overall, reported criminal code-related offenses are down. We attribute some of that property crime to just a couple of prolific offenders who we've since dealt with. So we, certainly when we see a spike like that or a bit of an increase, we focus the resources in to deal with it. We are also in the process of trying to identify a crossing guard for McWilliams Road in relation to Lucy Maud Montgomery School traffic. So an interim crossing guard for the remainder of the school year. So our bylaw officer is working on that. Our CAT team our community action team have been active in various parts of the city doing targeted enforcement, especially in school zones and in relation to crosswalks. And just last week we laid 17 crosswalk related offenses within the city for people failing to yield the right of way to pedestrians. So certainly that was in response to some citizen concerns that came forward. So when that was brought forward, we certainly recognized that there was an issue and put the enforcement to deal with it.
Was it 17 in one area?
No, it was in different areas.
Okay.
Yeah, 17 in different areas. We're also in the planning process for PEI Marathon, which is going to be a 2-day event this year. And so we're working with the organizers to make sure that they're the appropriate policing response. Over the last month or so, we were also working with the organizers of the Shellfish, but we all know that that was canceled, unfortunately. We're also facilitating the road closures for National Reconciliation Day this Thursday. So there will be some road closures on Rockford Street to accommodate that. So our team is working to support that. Our priority tactical response team trained in this month, and we're on the range doing different tactical movements. Our major crime and forensic units were busy mid-month with a serious incident on King Street that you may have seen in the media. And also our frontline officers have supported several safe environments around organized protests over the past month. So that's an operational report.
So the protests, I'm assuming the ones up at the hospital?
Correct, yeah. There's several that have occurred, and some require a little more attention, but we certainly recognize the need to promote that safe environment for all involved, including the protesters, the people that are driving through that area, people that may be viewing the protests. So our presence is there just to facilitate that safe environment.
All right, on the operational side, any questions? Councillor Ramsey?
Talking about the protests, thank you, Mr. Chair. Talking about the protest, Chief, is they still having the protests here in Saturdays down at the monument?
they are.
Yeah, we do.
I didn't drive by recently, so I didn't.
Yeah, we do our best to communicate with the protesters to get their schedule. They've been pretty good to communicate with us when we are going to, so we do our best to support that, again, that safe environment.
So there's no real big issues going on?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Ron, any questions with regards to operational?
No, I'm great, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks Chief. On to personnel.
Our interviews for the entry-level constable positions are scheduled for the week of the 4th, so it's a full week of interviews, and total amount interviewed, Deputy Coombs?
22.
22, so that week. So we're excited about that and getting those positions filled. Acting Deputy Chief Jennifer McCarron is on course this week and next week at the Atlantic Police College, taking a modern day leadership course. We also have Constables Phil Miller and Justin Young. We're also training at the Academy to be instructors in high-risk vehicle stops and vehicle extractions. So it's a busy training month for us. And that's my personnel.
Any questions on the personnel? Councillor Duran, any questions on personnel?
No, I do not, Greg, thank you.
Okay, bylaws.
The only thing notable in the bylaws is that we are having issues identifying a fourth parking enforcement officer. We work with the Corps Commissioners to provide that service, and over the past month they've been unable to fill that fourth position, which has resulted in decreased parking enforcement numbers. So I want to make you aware of that.
Okay. All right, community policing.
I'll take that, Chair. Just start off with a letter of appreciation. It's going to be vetted here, but we had a dangerous offender that was arrested in downtown Core, and a resident in the area sent an expression to the chief's office praising the officers involved in the morning arrest. He said they did a very professional job and was very happy with the organization and outcome. So for intense arrests like that, to get an actual positive feedback is very good. So I'm going to pass that on. Obviously, our school resource officers are back to school. And community action team, like the chief was saying, is responding to issues from the community. Chantel McNeil, one of our school resource officers, has taken a mental health readiness course. It was a 1-week online training, and she'll be able to put that to use. The first week of school, we had a school safety operation where we combined the CAT team with patrol officers, and we were visible and also handing out pamphlets at all the different schools. Sunday, we had officers attend down to Summerside for the police memorial service to honor fallen officers. And I myself attended the regimental change of command parade for the PEI regiment. Outgoing Lieutenant Colonel Morarity, long-time commanding officer and a big supporter of Charlottetown Police, is moving on.
Who's replacing?
Lieutenant Colonel J.P. Pendergast.
Okay.
Yeah. Local, but away for a long time in Red Force.
Okay, good. Good. Any questions, comments for?
Community policing, did we decide if that's gonna stay right in? Like the 3 officers that are around all the wards?
That was the hope. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. Does that have to be approved by council? Or no, or can this just go through us?
Probably some additional funds needed. Would there be?
Well, what we hope to capitalize on is the allocation of funding for the 2 additional bodies in this year's operational budget to make the CAT team a full-time team. So it's kind of part and parcel to these new hirings too. So we're hoping to get these hirings done before the September 30th date. But it's busy time for everyone, but we are trying to have very little gap, if any at all, between the new hirings and the CAT team presence. So think everyone's sees the benefit of the community action team.
It's all status
We
quo.
do, yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to point out that my granddaughter and I were at the service in Summerside on Sunday afternoon. My daughter was one of the participating officers of the park warden for National Parks. So my granddaughter asked me if I'd take her up, and I said, sure. She asked me how long the service would be when I got to Trinity Church. And I said, nothing more than a half hour, because I participated down here in the previous term. And an hour and a half later, we're still there. And she's gradually getting back on speaking terms with me.
Grandpa lied.
Quality time with their grandfather.
Grandpa never leads her astray.
It's every day.
Yeah.
It's the first time it's been hosted down in Summerside in quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
normally Charlottetown.
It was a rainy day, a rainy afternoon, but still they had a good crowd, really good crowd there.
Trip to cows usually fix that. Grandpa.
Pardon?
I said a trip to cows, I said, can usually fix
Well,
that.
It was a trip to Pizza Delight first.
You really did bad.
Could I
Yes.
just ask, Deputy, school bus safety discussion meeting's taking place tonight. Are you guys involved in that? You guys get a notice?
Yeah, Your Worship, I will.
Maybe a past school buses while the red lights are flashing, putting children at risk.
Yeah, I will be attending that meeting.
Yeah, and that's every, I believe, at,
It's in Stratford.
it is in Stratford, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so someone will be there, that's great, because that's very important with the school buses back on the roads.
And just to further that, I know that all complaints of motorists passing school buses for our department are being funneled to the community action team to take an immediate response. They have more time to take more statements, and it's a zero tolerance, full enforcement when we have the evidence.
Good. All right, Councilor Drawn, any questions?
No, that's very good. Thank you, thanks for your time.
All right, well, if there's no other questions, then we need a motion to move into closed session as per section 119(1)(b), D, E, and H of the MGA. Moved and seconded?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, we'll move into a closed session.
This is